Hey everyone, ShinNefzen here, welcoming you to week 5 of the Let's Play Spring Fest. This week we are playing MUSHA, an awesome shmup for the Sega Genesis. Awesome, but certainly not easy. In my, I'd say, at least a dozen good practice attempts, I managed to make it to the second stage boss. Ironically, this is kind of interesting. I didn't realize there were any kind of special I didn't realize how to use special weapons, let's put it that way, until I got to the second stage of, I think it was my second attempt, right? So I'm all amped, I'm like, man, it's my second attempt, I made it to stage 2 without knowing I could use these awesome weapons. Surely this is going to be a cakewalk. Yeah, didn't even make it to the stage 1 boss for my next 10 attempts. It was ridiculous. Anyway, MUSHA here. It's a compile shmup. Compile made a... God, they haven't made a bad shmup, really. They've made lots of excellent ones. This particular one reminds me, aside from the whole ancient Japanese themes kind of going on, reminds me a bit of like Raiden 4. Just the weapon selection kind of had similar lasers and whatnot to that. The interesting thing about this game is, one, its absurd difficulty. We are playing on hard mode, to be fair, but this game's pretty brutal. Basically, once I had the first half of the stage down, the mini-boss destroyed me every single time. I consistently made it to him without taking a single hit in the stage. Had all kinds of power-ups, and then by the time I was done with the mini-boss, I was down to 1 or less lives and Gradius syndromed until, I was limping to the gates fighting the first stage boss here. And secondly, this first stage here is quite possibly the most absurdly long stage 1 I've ever played. In comparison, the first stage here is probably about 5 minutes. The second stage is about a minute and a half. It's pretty ridiculous. I guess this is one of those games that it's trying to tell you up front that it's not fucking around. Now, I normally, as I've said repeatedly many times, I normally try not to watch other people's videos until mine is done and posted. However, I found I could not keep to that particular personal rule this time. The main reason of which is after I discovered, I'm like, hey, I can use cool weapons. I'm like, what else am I missing? Because, in last competition, Polly always included readmes and stuff with here's the game, here's the controls, here's what the buttons do. And I was like, okay, and we haven't been getting that here. So I was like, well, I know Fresno always goes into a lot of detail on controls and stuff, so I'm gonna watch I watched the first 5 minutes or so of his video, and yeah, I definitely learned some stuff that I didn't know. You can apparently change your speed by pausing it, and those 3 little arrows above where it says form free are indicative of your current speed. 3 is the default. You can lower it down to 1, or I think it goes up to 8 if I remember correctly. I didn't actually do it in my playthroughs, but that can manipulate your speed. I just left it at the default. The game's pretty difficult enough using the default speed. I didn't want to make it more difficult by learning the nuances of a different speed type. Yes. This is only the second time, well, technically third time I've done post commentary. I always do live, but for this game I had to do post. 1, to concentrate, and 2, if this was live, the commentary would be me swearing for 15 minutes. And if you just heard a few seconds ago there, you just heard me say, "Are you fucking kidding me?" when that guy hit me and took my power-ups. Because I was recording the audio, I just wasn't speaking. So I was recording the audio of the game and the video. So I'm just sitting there, I'm like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" I was trying not to speak, but the few times I did, when I was just recording the audio here, it was always me swearing at the game. This power-up I just picked up, I like it a lot. It's representative of the water element. It puts a rotating shield around you. The more you pick up, the bigger and faster the shield rotates. I like it a lot. I do like especially in a stage like this where it's completely open. You're not in a confined area, and there's just stuff coming at you from every weapon. I do like the shield in this situation. The other weapons being the lightning, which you already saw, the green lightning, and the flame power-up, which gives you these kind of explodey missile things that spread out. I like all the weapons in this game. I prefer the lightning just because it's a beast. It can take out a lot of things the other weapons have trouble with. And I played Raiden 4 a lot on the 360, and that was a similar weapon on there that I always used. So it's just something I'm used to. Except in Raiden 4 it was the blue item that was the big lasers. Now here we're at the first boss here. He destroyed our buddies in the intro here. This is it can get kind of hectic, but it's pretty much a bob and weave type deal. The real actually no, this is definitely the more difficult part of the fight here, because once it moves up to the head here, I mean, it's got more stuff. He fires bigger shots, but it's easier to get into a pattern of getting around him. I see I've done so many playthroughs that I don't remember if I die here at all or not. I don't think so, because I remember going into stage 2 with a couple lives. As you can see, he fires little fireballs that turn into skull-looking things. He basically follows you, so all you got to do is just keep bobbing and weaving back and forth, and you'll stay ahead of the pattern. The only problem is, since I got Gradius syndromed off of that death right before this fight, I've got only my basic weapon to attack this guy with, so it's a pretty slow-going fight against this pagoda of death. I guess I'll take a second to talk about, up there it says form free. When you get little bits similar to like the options in Gradius, they'll little attachments to your ship, like little bots that'll help you out. They'll fire shots and whatnot. Form free kind of lets them do what they want. They'll aggressively go after enemies, and I like that. Again, in a stage like this that's really open, that's pretty good because they can't really get themselves into trouble, unlike the next stage, which is enclosed. They can ram themselves into the wall and explode. Which, of course, I think I forget, so I leave them on form free for like half the stage. We got several options. There's forward, three-way, reverse. It all puts them in different patterns. I pretty much like the free form. If I can't stick around using that, I usually just stick it to like the forward or the three-way. Now this stage is one I would definitely like using the fire type weapons in here. The missile spread covers a good portion of the screen. And I got smacked there. Now, considering this was my, like, when I first made it to stage 2, before I realized I could use weapons, like, I died in like the first 10 seconds. So this is the farthest I got at this point. So I'm pretty happy considering this is the first time I've encountered all these enemies and whatnot. I even make it to the boss, which I was pretty happy with, being only on 2 lives and not having any decent weapons. I probably would have done better if I had realized that those things smacking into me would have been an instant death. For some odd reason, I was under the impression that they would just kind of, knock you around. Kind of like try to push you into stuff. I didn't think they would insta-kill me. So here we are restarting the first stage from the save state that Zenny gave us. And speaking of Zen, okay, so yes, I did get the achievement for not dying at a boss. I kind of forgot about that. And not getting a game over. So wow, and all I got to do is complain about Zenny and I'll get all 3. Sweet. Okay, talk about the games up to this point. Week 1, Super C. Kind of predictable, but fun game, so I can't really complain about it. Week 2, I didn't get to play Canyon Capers because DOSBox sucks. I got the replacement game, which was the sequel to Milan's Secret Castle, the Doremi Fantasy, which was actually a very fun game. I had a lot of fun with that. It was a good alternate. I kind of wish it was had been made the main one for that week, because I'd really like to see other people play it. But it was a fun game. Can't complain about that. And week 3 was Flashback, which I played and Sunburst Baser co-commentated on. A game I haven't played in like 15 years since I played it on the Jaguar, but it was a lot of fun. It was a good choice, something kind of unique that I haven't seen in the games yet. The only thing about Flashback is it was, I mean, I guess a lot of the games can get repetitive to the judges, but especially something like Flashback, where there's only so much variation you can do in the paths that you take. But it was still a fun ride. And then week 4 we did Sunburst did Zoop while I co-commentated, which I love Zoop. I'm not very good at it, but I played Zoop way back when it came out on the SNES, and even though I'm terrible at it, I always enjoyed it. It still is a very unique puzzle game. I like quite a bit. It's like a puzzle shooter. And we come here to MUSHA, which is a sadistic game. Normally I'm pretty good at shmups, but I was just having problems getting my game together on this one for some reason. I practiced for a while last night and a bit today before I have to go to work here. And this is the best I was able to put out. Normally I do a little bit better, but and shmups, but what are you gonna do? Got to the second stage boss. I can't be too horribly disappointed, I guess. And then I have to definitely share what Fresno was saying about the whole lack of readme things on Zene's part. For the most part, a lot of these games are pretty self-explanatory. Like I said earlier, Polly, for her games, sent a readme with like every game. It was like, here's everything that has to happen, and here's what these button does, and this and this and that, and not quite getting all that here. I mean, Zene was saying he played this game on the Genesis back in the day, and I don't know. I don't want to speak for him, but maybe since he was so used to playing it, he just assumed it was something quick and easy that everyone would be able to figure out, which is quite possible. But yeah, definitely I think a little bit of a lack of communication, although not entirely detrimental. It just took a lot of extra research and watching other people's video and breaking my personal code of not watching other people's videos. That's all. Yeah, it's pretty much my only complaint so far. We've had a good selection of games. Started off with Run and Gun. I went to a silly game, platformer, puzzle game. We got ourselves a nice little shmup here. And none of the games are, well, aside from Super C, none of the games are super particularly well known, which I kind of like. I guess I'd like to take this moment, as Fresno was talking about Mega Man Soccer in his video for his week 3. I totally, even though he's been apologizing for it because they were kind of boring videos, I'll stand by him in his decision. Mega Man Soccer was again another game I had for the SNES way back in the day, and I played it for hours on end. So that was a game I enjoyed. Obviously, none of the other competitors in the summer games did, but I stand by him, damn it. Now, coming up here is pretty much the story of my life. I pretty much had this was a really good run. The mini boss of those double pagoda things didn't absolutely obliterate me at this point, which I'm like, sweet, I'm doing pretty good. And then I get snagged by these damn missiles that are just circling the screen forever. And now I get back to the point where I'm screwed and back in Gradius syndromed, and yay! Thank you, MUSHA. I even got here with a bunch of extra lives. If I hadn't, totally screwed up and lost that life in the first 5 seconds, that would have been golden. And there we have it. A fairly pathetic end, but what are you going to do? Alright, I'll see you guys in week 6. And I will try to bury this horrible shame behind me. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next week.